Hello everyone, this is Dr. Radhika Pandey, and I have secured an All India rank of 5000 in NEET-PG 2024 in my first attempt, that is my internship attempt. And I am here to share some tips and tricks about how to crack NEET-PG with you guys. And I know there's a lot of videos on the internet by All India rank 1 and 2 and like 50 and 100, so I was initially a bit reluctant about if I should put a video or not. But then these things which I have learned in the journey, I have five main points, five important points that I mainly want to share with you guys. So let's just look at them one by one. The first one is notes. So notes का कैसा होता है that everyone has main notes and then they have a 20th notebook, right? That is the funda, that is how it goes. And so for all the 19 subjects, you would have notes which you'll be referring from one particular coaching platform or whatever. Now, I am not saying that take Marrow or take Damski notes or Prep Ladder or Bharti or whatever, there's like 100 sources out there. But whatever subject you are taking, so har subject ke liye you need to focus, like you have to stick to one particular source for one particular subject and just stick to it. Do not change your source of that particular subject. उसी को स्टिक करो, उसी को लास्ट तक पढ़ो. You should not have FOMO कि ये पर्टिकुलर सपोज BTR वगैरह जो होता है, तो you should not have FOMO कि अभी मेन नोट्स मैंने इससे किया है बट BTR भी देख लेते हैं बिकॉज लोग बोलते हैं BTR देखना चाहिए. तो वैसे नहीं है. You have to stick to one particular source and वही करना है, वही कंटिन्यू करना है एंड तक. अब नोट्स का कैसे होता है, यूजुअली पीपल हैव मेन नोट्स and then they have their छोटी कॉपी या 20th notebook. एंड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ छोटी कॉपी इज कि जो एग्जाम के 2 दिन पहले का टाइम होता है, दैट इज व्हेन पीपल जस्ट ब्रीज थ्रू और फ्लिप थ्रू देयर छोटी कॉपी एंड दैट बेसिकली हैज इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स ऑफ ऑल द सब्जेक्ट्स एंड थिंग्स दैट यू टेंड टू फॉरगेट. Now this is something which works for a lot of people, but now this is the trick that I wanted to share with you guys, is that for me personally, I think for this exam, visual memory is the strongest type of memory that you can have, which is why having proper notes and having like the strategy around it is very important. So if you have been studying, कई महीनों तक आप अपने मेन नोट्स ही रिवाइज कर रहे थे एंड 2 दिन पहले एग्जाम के आपने अपनी छोटी कॉपी खोली और आप उसको ब्रीज थ्रू कर रहे हैं कि हमने इसमें इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स लिखे हैं, तो इफ दैट वर्क्स तो भाई बहुत अच्छी बात है. बट आई पर्सनली बिलीव दैट फॉर माई सेल्फ आई थॉट दैट 2 days बिफोर द एग्जाम आई डू नॉट वॉन्ट टू ओपन अ फॉरेन बुक विच आई हैव नॉट रियली स्टडीड पहले एंड जस्ट ब्रीज थ्रू इट, बिकॉज इवन दो इट हैज द important points and things that I tend to forget, it will be a little bit foreign to me and I do not want to get that anxiety 2 days before the exam. So I wanted to just keep on looking at the same thing over and over and over again till it just seeped into my mind. So that is what I did for myself. So my 20th notebook is not really one notebook, and like a lot of people usually have like एक या दो छोटी कॉपी होती है उनकी, which is their 20th notebook in which they have written like the things that they really only forget of the subject, all the subjects together. But my 20th notebook is actually many notebooks. So I have 3 small notebooks like these. Like this, I have 3 small notebooks and then I have 3 big notebooks like this. Okay, now this is, I know it looks a little overwhelming, but this is the only thing, like this is the only thing that I have studied all through from my second revision. Now how I'll tell you that. So in my 20th notebook, I did not just like, of course I have written things which I forget easily or things that are very very important, very very high yield for NEET-PG, so I have definitely written that. But apart from that, I don't know how, but when I was making my 20th notebook, I could not help but write almost like everything which is important. So basically my 20th notebook for one particular subject is essentially a mini version of my main notes. Now I can give you a very good example of this with surgery. So surgery, I like myself, I studied it from Marrow, and Marrow का जो surgery है, if everybody knows, like Dr. Rohan Khandelwal has done it beautifully, but जो मैंने notes उसके बनाए थे, मैंने खुद से बनाए थे, and those notes were essentially 3 books at least of 200 pages, and that rounded up to about 600 pages. Now that was all important, ऐसा नहीं है, there were some things which were very highlighted, but from those 600 pages I made my 20th notebook of surgery, which is it would be around maybe like 100 pages max to max, maybe 100 pages. So that 600 pages I have essentially made a smaller mini version of those 600 pages into 100 pages, and believe me when I say that it has almost every single thing which I thought would be important and I thought that I need to revise. So it basically has everything which is important. It's not just the things that I forget, it's basically every PYQ and every important thing. I just have made it in a way where it has become very small and very very high yield. Okay, so for me, I made my 20th notebook from my second revision onwards. First revision से मैंने नहीं बनाया था, which is something which I regret. I should have probably made it from my first revision itself, but I made it from my second revision. And the thing is that I made it in such a way, of course, one more thing is that when you're making your notes, you have to make some beautiful notes, okay? Make sure they are so colorful, they are just, when you open them, you feel like reading and you feel like studying. Okay, they should not just be black and white and boring, because that can, I don't know, tend to be very monotonous and it can wear you out. So for example, things that might help is that if something is, use like color code. So if something is like bloody or something like that, then you can write it in red, like a red pen. Or if you want to like represent pus or peritoneum, then maybe write it in yellow. Then in my mind, liver, somehow I always thought that's like in diagrams and all, it was purple in color, so I just thought liver is purple. So if it was anything hepatic or and all, I would write it in purple. If there's something which is fatal or like morbid, I would write it in black. Then ligaments, I would write it in green. So I just had these small color codes and I would write my notes in those colors. So visual memory is something you have to work on in this exam. First revision के end तक मैंने नहीं बनाया था. Second revision में मैंने अपना 20th notebook बनाया, and from the third revision onwards, I have not touched my main notes. I have only and only been doing my 20th notebooks, and believe me when I say this that it saves a lot of time. The time that it takes to go through your main notes is just it's kind of wasteful in an exam like this where number of revisions is so important. So it is kind of wasteful if you're just going through your main notes. Even if I would say from third revision onwards, you have to, if you can, then even from your second revision onwards, have these mini version of your main notes. I don't know if you want to call it your 20th notebook or something else, but this mini version, you have to only and only study this from the second or the third revision onwards. Okay, and every single revision after that, I just did these notes to a point where I was so comfortable with them, is that उसकी इतनी अच्छी visual memory बन गई कि 2 days before the exam also, you know, subsequent revisions में, third में, fourth में, fifth में, sixth में, and even 2 days before the exam, it was just so easy because I knew what is there where. So that is very, very, very important. So even 2 days before, it's nothing foreign that you're going through, you know, it is everything which you've been seeing for months and months and months. Okay, now apart from that, the second thing that I want to say is about revisions. Now you might have heard everyone say that as many revisions as you can do, you know, the more the merrier. So you have to do as many as you possibly can. Now 3 revision तो minimum होता है, उससे कम तो नहीं होता है. Usually people do 3 revisions at least, and ऐसा भी नहीं है कि मतलब I know some people, like I know some seniors and all who were like really sharp and they could do it in like 3 revisions and they would still have like really great ranks and all. So I'm not saying that you know, you cannot do it in less, but so for me, for example, I do not consider myself to be very super intelligent or super sharp, so I would require, I think, 5 minimum. Okay, not less than that, because only then all those things would really go into my brain. And so I think I did a total of 7 revisions or maybe 8, I don't know, but yeah, maybe 7. So first जो revision होता है, फर्स्ट रिविजन के एंड तक तो तुम्हें ऐसा लगता है कि तुम्हें कुछ आता ही नहीं है, बिकॉज फर्स्ट रिविजन तक ऐसा लगता है दिस इज फॉरेन, लाइक हैव आई इवन रेड दिस, यू नो, समथिंग लाइक दैट. बट फ्रॉम द सेकेंड रिविजन इज व्हेन you start, when things really start going into the brain, okay, yeah, I have read this. So the more the merrier. You have to do as many as possible, and I'm sure you guys might be knowing the general structure of revisions is that the first revision that you do, it has to be for a maximum of 1.5 or 2 months in which you have to cover everything. Second revision jo hota hai, you have to do it in 30 days, that is 1 month. Third revision jo hota hai, you have to do it in 15 days, and every subsequent revision after that has to be in 15 days or even lesser if you can make it, even 10 or 12 days. उतनी ही स्पीड से आपको फटाफट पढ़ना है. Okay, now if like the exam maybe is in May, so if it is in May, if you start your first revision like right now, it's November, so you started right now, then you have to make sure that by December end max to max you are covering your first revision. Then January may you finish your second revision off, then February may you will be doing your third revision. Maybe you can do 2 revisions in February, or maybe like March first week or something, and then March may again you can go ahead to do 1 more revision, and like I don't know when the exam will be, nobody really knows that, but yeah. Or if you are so that still leaves room for so many revisions, if you can see, you know, like first revision agar abhi se start bhi kiya hai, so even by March April end tak that still leaves room for 3 more a total of 6 revisions. Okay, and if you are somebody who is giving it in a fresh attempt, the first attempt internship वाला, and आपने अभी तक अपनी first reading नहीं complete की है, तो मैं कहूँगी कि आप अपनी first reading max to max December end तक please कंप्लीट करने का ट्राई करें. तो अगर आपने फर्स्ट रीडिंग दिसंबर एंड तक कर ली, तो फिर आप जनवरी में अपना जनवरी एंड देन फेब के मिड तक या मैक्स टू मैक्स फेब के एंड तक आप अपना फर्स्ट रिवीजन कंप्लीट कर सकते हैं, एंड मार्च में फिर आप अपना जो है सेकेंड रिवीजन कर सकते हैं, एंड दैट विल स्टिल लीव यू विद 2 रिविजन्स का स्कोप इन अप्रैल, 15 डेज का. एंड सपोज मई में एग्जाम है, मई फर्स्ट वीक और व्हाटएवर, देन लास्ट का जो 2-3 दिन है, आई वुड से 3 डेज तो रखो ही बफर के लिए, डोंट इवन कीप इट 2 डेज, बिकॉज एक दिन कभी कभार ट्रैवलिंग में, लाइक माई सेंटर वॉज इन औरंगाबाद, सो आई हैड टू ट्रैवल फॉर 1 day, एंड सो कीप अ बफर ऑफ 3 days in which you're just quickly breezing through your 20th notebook. Okay, so actually for me it was the 20th notebook throughout, so yeah, that. Now the third point that I would like to highlight is about MCQs, that is the multiple choice questions, and this is definitely something you have to do every single day. Daily आपको MCQ solve करने ही हैं. तो अब कितने करने हैं, so that varies. Now for me personally, I think MCQs were just like, I had phases where I would like solving MCQs so much कि मुझे सिर्फ MCQs ही solve करने का मन करता था, and then there were phases where I was so bored of MCQs that I just didn't want to do them, you know. But irrespective of आपका मन कर रहा है या नहीं मन कर रहा है, that does not matter. Every single day at least minimum 50 MCQs, 50 MCQs try to solve every single day. Okay, even if you want to, even if you don't want. अब उसका सोर्स क्या है, तो एक तो मैरो का क्वेश्चन बैंक होता है, जो कि बिल्कुल भी मुझे नहीं लगता है कि करने की ज़रूरत है एक्चुअली, बिकॉज देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ यूजलेस very difficult questions which make no sense. So I would suggest you can do एक तो previous year's question, कभी भी आप छोड़ नहीं सकते, प्रीवियस ईयर्स क्वेश्चन तो करनी है. तो PYQ के बैंक्स होते हैं, जैसे कि मैंने मैरो का PYQ बैंक जो है उससे सॉल्व किया था, एंड आई यूज्ड टू बुकमार्क क्वेश्चंस एंड देन आई कुड go through the bookmarks again. And then there's subject wise tests and mini tests that are there on Marrow, I guess, so you can do that. Also one more thing is that because this year का नीट थोड़ा टफ था, and बहुत सारे ऐसे क्वेश्चन थे जो प्योरली PYQ बेस्ड नहीं थे हर साल की तरह, इसलिए मे बी लोगों को ऐसा लग रहा होगा, या some people are saying कि PYQ, you know, like is it really even that relevant now? But ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं है कि जो इतने सालों से अब तक नीट हो रहा है तो वो अब क्योंकि इस साल थोड़ा टफ था तो अब हर साल ऐसा होगा, ऐसा तो नहीं है. हो सकता है 2025 वाला नीट 2023 जैसा ही हो, है ना, या फिर अब तक जैसा होते आ रहा है वैसा ही हो. तो देयर इज नो एक्सक्यूज फॉर नॉट डूइंग PYQs. PYQs तो करने ही है, यू हैव टू डू ऑल द PYQs. ओके, सो यू हैव टू डू ऑल ऑफ देम, एंड लाइक आई सेड 50 क्वेश्चंस डेली तो करो ही. ओके, एंड या दैट. And one more thing is about GTs. The fourth point I would like to say is about GTs. So GTs का क्या है कि तो किस frequency पे GT करना चाहिए. So I think Marrow has this thing where they release the GTs, I think once a month initially, and then eventually as the exam approaches, they make it twice a month or something. And I think that frequency, the easiest way to go about it is just follow that frequency, because वो उसी हिसाब से देते हैं. Usually once a month GT is what you have to do starting में, and then eventually you go twice in a month and all. Okay, so GTs देना बहुत important है, आपकी practice बैठ जाती है. एंड आई वुड सजेस्ट कि टैबलेट एंड आईपैड वगैरह पे मत दीजिए. जीटी देना है तो लैपटॉप या कंप्यूटर पे दीजिए, बिकॉज दैट इज व्हाट विल स्टिम्युलेट द it will simulate the actual exam. Also, like the thing about GTs is that I would personally suggest that you go ahead and give Marrow like use Marrow as your platform for giving GTs. You can use other platforms also, but I have personally noticed that जो बाकी के जो platforms होता है, I've noticed कि there's some contradictory things, and I don't know, maybe they have not really given the explanation that well. I don't know, but like maybe it's just better to use Marrow for that. It's just very good in the way that it gives its GT and the explanations and everything. So I would suggest doing it from that. And also one very important thing is the strategy of question solving. I'll make it the fifth point is that the strategy of question solving जो होता है, मैंने ये strategy जो है बहुत थोड़ा late follow की थी कि the elimination वाला जो होता है strategy, that is you eliminate options. So when you are solving questions, you never look for the right answer. सबसे पहले आप भाग के वो आंसर मत ढूंढिए कि इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर क्या है. Do not do that. Search for गलत आंसर क्या है. गलत जो आंसर है पहले आप वो आइडेंटिफाई करके उस आंसर को हटा दें. तो यू हैव टू लर्न दिस आर्ट ऑफ रूलिंग आउट फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग. मतलब मैंने आई थिंक ये जो है एक्टिवली यू हैव टू डू इट एक्टिवली एवरी सिंगल डे व्हेन यू आर सॉल्विंग MCQs and in every GT that you do every single day. I personally started actively doing this in the last 2 months I think. उसके पहले मैंने नहीं किया था, बट अब मुझे बहुत ऐसा रिग्रेट होता है कि अगर मैंने उसके पहले से मतलब स्टार्टिंग से इतना एक्टिवली वो किया होता तो इट वुड हैव I think it would have helped much more. But basically from now, ruling out is the key. You have to rule out. These exams are really not about कितना आपको knowledge है. They are about your strategy. They are about how you are able to get to the right answer by ruling out. Because even topper does not know 100% of the questions because it is impossible. तो आपको rule out करने का जो स्ट्रैटेजी होता है वो आना चाहिए. आप अभी से इम्प्लीमेंट कीजिए एज सून एज यू कैन एवरी सिंगल डे. 3 ऑप्शंस, जितने भी ऑप्शंस रूल आउट हो रहे हैं आप पहले वो ट्राई कीजिए. सीधा करेक्ट आंसर पे भागने का ट्राई मत कीजिए. ओके, जो मैंने एग्जाम दिया था नीट का, 200 में से मुझे लगता है 100 क्वेश्चन ही ऐसे थे जिसका मैं श्योर थी कि ये आंसर है. बचे 100 क्वेश्चन आपको रूल आउट ही करना होता है. The remaining 100 questions, even though the paper was so tough, you have to rule out and somehow you're able to get them. So, it is very, very important. There is no other way about it. And last, taking care of your mental health is very, very, very important. सबसे ज़्यादा important है because I would say that आधा गेम जो होता है वो mind का ही होता है. And you have to just do whatever you can to keep yourself happy and to maintain sanity in this period, because आसान नहीं होता है दिन में 10 घंटे पढ़ना, 12 घंटे पढ़ना नॉन स्टॉप एवरी सिंगल डे, वही रूटीन फॉलो करना नहीं आसान होता है. इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट. उसके अलावा लाइक ब्लॉक ऑल द टॉक्सिक पीपल आउट ऑफ योर लाइफ. इफ यू आर टॉकिंग टू सम ऑफ योर फ्रेंड्स एंड दे आर मेकिंग यू एंग्शियस अबाउट अच्छा तूने ये नहीं किया वो नहीं किया, और दे आर जस्ट मेकिंग यू फील बैड और एंग्शियस और समथिंग, जस्ट डोंट टॉक टू देम. Just don't talk to them. You do not need any toxic people in your life right now, or anybody who's making you anxious in this particular period of your life. Talk to people who make you happy, who motivate you. That is all you need. So yeah, that is all I wanted to say. I really hope that this video helps you guys. And if you want to see about if you want to know more about how I make my 20th notebook and what all I write, what all I don't write, then I could tell you guys that also. And thank you so much, and I really, really hope that this video helps you. Thank you. Yeah.